Another problem with the way things are going now is like, I think under the Bush administration, it was so blatant and in your face and obtuse. And now Obama, you know, there's all this covert warfare going on. The general of Africom, which is like, who knew that we were at war with Africa, right? Well, apparently there's military operations going on every single day across Africa.
United States?
Yes. Yes. And they've told like a room full of defense contractors, like, we are literally at war with Africa. And this is Africom.
Africa, the continent?
Yes.
We're at war with the whole continent?
We're at war with the fucking continent.
Is that a first?
That's a first.
Because we usually just pick a country. This country sucks.
And amazingly, it all goes together too when you look at like the global empire and how it all works, like the extraction of resources and all these countries working together in terms of Saudi Arabia and Israel. And when you look at the drone wars, cobalt is a mineral that's really essential for the military industrial complex to build machinery and weaponry. And cobalt comes from the Congo. And when you look at the Congo, for the last decade or so, or more than that, there's been like 6 million people who have died there. There's basically a genocide going on in the Congo, facilitated and protected by the U.S. government. In State Department documents in the late 90s or mid 2000s, they've said that they need to keep Congo like unstable, basically. They need to keep this civil war going so that we can secure the cobalt extraction. It's all fucked, man. And it all stems back from Rwanda, the genocide there, and the invasion of the Congo. It's used, I don't exactly know, but I know primarily something in drones. It's a component in drones. But it just shows you how like complicated it is, right? And how many things are tied together with the military industrial complex. And I really do think it's like an autonomous machine that if a bunch of these people died, the machine would still thrive on. It would still live on because there's so many components and everyone's compartmentalized in how to keep the machine going. And so it's like they don't even know. It's just weapons and bombing are the only solutions that they know because that's all that they do know. It's like, of course, building schools and hospitals would actually be way better in the long term for Afghans. Education, if we're going to prop up that girl, Malala or whatever, for the Taliban almost killing her for wanting to get educated, that should be our focus. If we really want like an educated world and society and build up peace and stability in the Middle East, schools and hospitals and really investing in the people instead of just continuously bombing them into the Stone Ages and then being like, why are you guys so barbaric? We need to bomb the shit out of you more. Why is ISIS here? I don't know. Maybe because you bombed the shit out of all of these different religious sects that Saddam was actually had a stranglehold on. Because at that point in time, in the political evolution and climate of that society, they needed a dictator and like some sort of dictatorial rule to keep those factions in line. That's how the society was functioning. So to just bomb them into oblivion and just be like, we've democratized you. Why is ISIS here now? Like, any logical human being would look at that region and say, well, of course that's what's going to happen. Even Cheney back in 1994, he was giving this interview about the invasion of Iraq because, of course, Bush Sr., we know he wanted to go in and do Iraq too. And he was saying we'd never do that because pieces of Iraq would fly off. And he was like, it would be a total disaster. He basically laid out exactly what happened when we did go in there. These people aren't dumb. It's almost like ISIS is just an excuse to keep it going.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's pretty insane.
Okay, you're really good at pointing out all these things that are fucked up in the world. But do you have any ideas about how it could be fixed?
I think that everything that you said about how we're one human family living on one organism, we have the technological capabilities in front of us. That's why I love what Peter Joseph and the Zeitgeist movement are doing, because they point out the possibilities and the capabilities that we have. The hydroponics, the open source ecology, and all of these different movements, decentralized tools online or Bitcoin or... This is all happening. People are starting the revolution on their own. But I think that as long as we are ingesting media that makes us scared and keeps pitting us in camps against each other and keeps reinforcing American exceptionalism and also these identities, these false identities and nationalistic tendencies that makes us not have empathy, not extend our empathy from our brothers and sisters in Gaza, our brothers and sisters in Iraq. That needs to be stripped down first and foremost, because if we keep reinforcing the fact that we're different because we're American and we're white and we just happen to be born within this nation, we're going to have a really long road ahead of us in terms of how we can really change this. Because if the system is globalized, the struggle needs to be globalized, and so does the consciousness.